Dobro večer, dobrodošli. Kako ste, šta radite? Da kleknem, ne znam šta da radim. Kakva je situacija s novinarima? Ste vidjeli što se dešavalo sve ovo? Ja jedva čekam večerašnju epizodu. Krenut ćemo lagano iz regiona. Iz reke Bosne u Doboju izveđena je bomba iz Drugog svjetskog rata. Bosanci su je nakon fotografisanja poljubili i vratili u vodu. U novinama piše da je jedan srpski političar za vreme rata Hrvatima odavao podatke o srpskom naoružanju. A realno nije morao, sve su mogli saznati iz pesama Baje malo klinđe. Skandal u beogradskom vrtiću. Jedna vaspitačica se slikala za porno sajt. Ovo tvrde mame i tate, samo su tate malo tvrđe. Dobro je fora, a? Zanimljiva vest dolazi iz Amerike. Trogodišnjak iz Amerike pokušao sam sebi makazama da odseče penis, nakon čega je majka rešila da ga vaspitava kao žensko. I sad je zavoleo penis. Džinovski asteroid juri ka zemlji, za Božić može da bude smak sveta. Ha! Živjet ćemo 13 dana duže nego katolici. Sad ćete videti. Brat i sestra zajedno promenili pol. I sad su opet brat i sestra. Vreme je za fun facts. Kad su ti šanse za nešto 50-50, 100% si Kada čekaš u redu u banci, svaka osoba ispred tebe je kreten. Da bi učestvovao u farmi, moraš da nemaš svedočanstvo iz srednje škole. Kada pitaš Muhameda Alija da li je sport zdrav, on samo klimne glavom. Ne brinite, Ali se nije potresao zbog ove fore. Svaka familija u frižideru ima onu jednu teglu koja je tu već 6 godina. Pa stvarno je tako, jel? Ja imam neke ljute paprčice, selio sam ih 7 puta. Dobra vez za decu. Ruska predstava Maša i Medved, dečice, sinhronizovana na Srpski dom sindikata 22. 23. i 24. decembar. Za predstave od 18 časova još ima karat. Imaš karte, Bane? Podijeli, Bane. Tako je, Bane, daj penzionerima karte za dečju predstavu. Normalno. 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 A? Ne, nek vode unučiće, nema ništa protiv. Nisam znao si popunjavao formular sa svakim koji ima unučiće, to nema. Joan Collins rasprodaje odeću i nakit. Nije trebalo se razvodi od Blake. Lopovi upali u kuću Mihalja Kertesa, ali su se povukli kad su prepoznali majstora. Jedna vrlo zanimljiva vest. Tigar i koza postali jako bliski. Ako bude muško, zvaće se Toza. Uznemirujuće vesti show biznisa. Adele otela pesmu pokojnom turskom pevaču. Turčin se okreće u grobu, ili što bi Adele rekla, rolling in the deep. Emina Jahović dobila tursko državljanstvo. Da li oni znaju ko smo ti mi, šta smo ti značili? Malo sam ponosan na ovo, ja sam izvukao i si. Ovo bio Amol, šta je bilo? Amol, jeste, da. Kruševljanin tortu nafilovao sa 200 grama heroina. Sad samo da podeli kašike. A Moskva upozorava Tajland da se pripaze napada džihadista. Međutim, ne brinem ja za Tajlanđane. Hrabri su to ljudi. Kod njih i žene imaju muda. Još jedna lepa vest, beogradska, u Ripnju se sada može autobusom do groblja. Dovoljno je samo da majstor malo zadrema. Ima neko iz Ripnja večeras. To su moji tamo, podavalsko područje. Srbini i Rus sprečili Amerikanca da sruši avion, a 3 debela Nemca u šoku. Bill Clinton se testirao na sidu. Ma, bit će to okej, samo pozitivno. Ko voli horoskop? I voli neko horoskop? Svi volimo horoskop. Normalno da volimo horoskop, zato horoskop.
Horoskop. Bik. Posao.
Nervirate se jer ljudi ne shvataju šta se krije iza svetskih ekonomsko-političkih dešavanja. Razmišljate da prestanete da vozite taksi.
Zdravlje.
Zakažite pregled kod lekara. Možda ćete biti bolesni za 6 meseci.
Ljubav.
Partner vas stalno izbacuje iz takta. Ostavite te bubnjeve i razgovarajte.
Blizanci. Posao.
Spojit ćete vaše 2 velike ljubavi, hemiju i fiziku. Otvorit ćete teretanu.
Zdravlje.
Posetite ginekologa. Ako ste muškarac, nemojte. Bilo bi baš čudno.
Ljubav.
Vaš ljubavni život je bajka. To makar objašnjava zašto je tašta takva veštica.
Tada! Čekaj, stvarno, kad iskoristim priliku kad već ima ovoliko žena u publici svako večer, vama horoskop zaista toliko važan? Uglavnom jeste. Ja sam naučio koji sam znak samo zbog devojaka kad sam išao u gimnaziju. Šta si horoskop? A ja ne znam. I taman kad sam naučio, onda su krenuli da pitaju šta sam u podznaku. Tako da, to sam posle savladao sve i onda odmah kažem vaga jarac. I jao, to je super kombinacija. Sad ja ne znam s kojim ženama se ja najbolje slažem. Šta kažu knjige? Lavovi i device. Devica ne može, to mi je mama, znate, ne bi bilo u redu. Da nema među vama neka slobodna žena lavica, možda. Pitam onako za ortaka, nema veze. Nije, ozbiljno, šta mislite, koliko bi trebalo da ima godina žena koja bi se zabavila sam?
Dok vi odlupite, imat ću i to.
Mislite, dok se Mara naguzi, odoše je baci, dobro. Znači, onda teoretski moja devojka možda ima i 50. Ako imam 100, opet sam dobro prošao. Rijana potvrdila da je Ronaldo gej. Međutim, njegov dečko negira to. Indijac koji je rođen sa 4 noge proteran je iz rodnog mesta. On je selo napustio lagano, nogu pred nogu, pred nogu, pred nogu, pred nogu. Voditeljka Slagalice proslavila je 35. rođendan. 5 puta 2 plus otvorena zagrada, 9 plus 15 plus 1 zatvorena zagrada. Taram! Lepo Lukić drži na farmi sa slomljenom nogom. Pa šta biste vi da je ubio da se ne muči? Šta? Lepa Brena kaže, baba Vanga mi je prorekla Bobu. Pa taman posla da ne vidi onolikog čoveka. Maju Nikolić otac izbacio iz testamenta. Da u testamentu ostane brat, pošaljite SMS na 2233. Da ostane sestra, pošaljite SMS na 2234. I za kraj malo politike, vreme je za našeg ministra Marinka Maglu.
Šta je s tobom? Šta je sa mnom? Još me pitaš šta je sa mnom?
Što?
Dete, onako da mi rasplačeš. Ti si mu čića, dono čića, bajadera, ajde, molim.
Malom tvom? Šta sam ja uradio malom tvom? Pa sam mu dono Mercedes kupio novi, jesmo ga vodili u Disneyland kad smo išli na pregovore u Pariz.
A sad nek mu sruše sve, nek mu sruše vikendicu. To je dete moje rano s 10 prsta svojih godinama. Hobbiton isti napravio. Doneo sam mu one projekte kad smo bili na Novom. 3 put mu je lepša od Frodine kuće. On je dečko potpisao zakon, boli ga čoša.
Kakav zakon, šta pričaš, jesi ti lud?
Ja lud, ti si ga potpisao, ne sam ja, o legalizaciji.
Ja potpisao zakon o legalizaciji.
Ja ga nisam potpisivao. Ne, ti se sa njim, ti mu objasni.
Ja njemu da objašnjavam.
Ja neću.
Jebote, Branimir Danija, ti žene same što ste uzeli kad je došao iz Njemačke samo haribom uzda guraš. Ja moram o materi da brinem. Zov mi Dadu da dođe da radi intervju.
Poštovani ministre, kakvo je vaše mišljenje, ali zaista, o tom zakonu o legalizaciji? Vi ste ga prvo potpisali, a kasnije govorili da pogoduje pre svega tajkunima, a ne sirotinji.
Ko se brine o narodu 24 časa dnevno, ko zbog mojih birača jedva i oko jedno sklapa, i onoj maloj lastavici kada svojim ptićima nosi u gnjezdo gore glistu, kada im predaje u njihov kljunić, uleti neki mali, da kažem, kos ili neka druga ptica i ona uzme. Tako da, ko radi, taj i greši. Ali samo veliki ljudi koji biste imaju svukuda i po staroj Jugoslaviji i u Dubrovniku i kad sam bio u Italiji vidio biste, samo ti koji takve biste imaju mogu da priznaju svoju pogrešku i ja je ovog puta priznajem.
Ali valjda ste pročitali, jel da tekst pre potpisivanja?
Jeste, potpisao sam, ali sam i pročitao tekst pre potpisivanja. Međutim, ja naočare nisam imao za čitanje. Ja imam dioptriju minus 27, meni je brat sa pijacom i štedimo, treba da...
Dobro, ali to nije da kažem razlog, jel da...
Ali ja čim sam tekstualno pročitao sitna slova, ja sam odmah to vratio promptno da se i upozorio da ne može, jer ne može zakon jedan da bude uperen protiv nas, malih ljudi i ugnjetenih, nas običnog naroda. Da se mora vratiti taj zakon, mora da se obori na Ustavnom sudu da bude i da donešen, ne može se rušiti.
Da, ali zakon se već sprovodi, to je...
Ko se sprovodi?
Pa već je počelo rušenje kuća, pogotovo pri obalama i tako...
Ko je počelo rušenje kuća, šta pričaš ti? Rušenje kuća počelo pri obalama. Ej, jebem te živote i majko, šta ja radim? Halo, Branimire, sine Čića, nemoj mali plakati, molim te. Ej, nemoj, Branimire, ja sam će... Je li to Hobbiton? Frodo, ti si. Skini Frodo prsten, da si prividan. Ej, Branimir, ajde molim te, Čića, molim te, obudi se u nošnju. Hobitsku nošnju obudi i da vide se noge dlakave. Nećete rušiti, zaustavit će kod tvoje kuće, jer sam ja ministar. Vi ćete biti hobiti manjina. Ako te pita, izjazi se tako, bit će novi zakon o manjinama, ne sme niko da te dira. Paži na hobitskom pilenjačku.
Državni posao radim danima 18:55, radio televizija Vojvodine. A mi se evo ovde borimo da sačuvamo od zaborava sva dobra dela koje je premijer Vučić uradio za nas, koja radi i koja će raditi, po svemu sudići još 120 godina. Pa gledamo žurnal. Bravo! Bravo i hvala, 100 puta hvala. Međutim, nisu svi bili tako dobri prošle nedelje kao premijer. Svi znate šta se dogodilo sa ministrom Gašićem.
Volim ove novinarke koje ovako lako kleknu. Dobro, izvolite.
Da. Pa što su se razočarali tako, ma nije, pa to je. Pa niste pratili ovih dana, to je normalno. Ona je sama njega mamila što je klekla. Razumete? Nije on kriv čovjek, ja sam slušao ovo saopštenje. Posle ovoga Bratislav Gašić više neće biti ministar. Nekako mu ta pozicija ne čuči. Inače, Gašić kaže, moja misija će od sada biti borba protiv zlostavljanja žena. Biće superheroj, Keramika Man. Aleksandar Vulin je izjavio, Gašiću je sada najteže. Da, ali ne treba da poklekne. Gašić kaže, nadam se da ću imati priliku da opet služim svojoj zemlji. Naravno, za početak neka ne naplaćuje ruke, nego samo materijal. Jasno vam je da je to posao za keramika mena. I da ne bude da ništa nisam rekao novinarima, ja sam rekao u ponedeljak u emisiji šta mislim o celoj ovoj situaciji i preporučio nešto i mislim da zaista treba sramota svakoga ko je otišao na njegovu konferenciju za štampu. Ta novinarska solidarnost trajala je 2 sata koliko i skup u Nemanjinoj, tako da ja i dalje mislim dokle god smo mi ovako jadni, nije ni čudo da nas oni tretiraju kako nas tretiraju. Inače u novinama piše da je napad na Aleksandru Jerkov napad na žene u politici, a napad na žene u politici je napad i na Zoranu Mihajlovića, napad na Zoranu je napad i na Vladu, kako god okreneš, napada i Vučića. Ušao sam im u tok misli. Sad iz svake situacije mogu da izvučem da je to napad na Vučića, verujte. Premijer Vučić je izjavio da Nemačka zapošljava 30.000 Srba u Srbiji i još 3 miliona u Nemačkoj. Premijer kaže, juče sam vikao na Sinišu zbog osvetljenja. Morao je da viče jer mali ne bi video šta mu pokazuje rukom jer je slabo osvetljenje. Mrkonjić popadao pevačice iza Aninih leđa. Ha! Isto kod Demonja. I jeste čuli šta je bilo sa Majom Gojković? Ozbiljno niste. Maja Gojković je komšijama poslala policiju zbog buke. Htjela je ona da ode lično, ali bilo glupo se oblači u zvučnik. Okej, gledamo našu decu, pitali smo ih ko je jači, Putin ili Obama.
Barack Obama ili Putin?
Putin. Putin, zato što su oni jači. Oni su valjda najjači. Obe države imaju jaku vojsku, a mnogi kažu da je Putin baš jak. Mislim da su oni jači od Amera. Više se priča da je Putin jak.
Pa Obama je jači i bolji.
Ja ne znam, stvarno, ja poštujem oba predsjednika. Meni su oni jednako jaki, ali više se priča možda da je Putin jači.
Putin, zato što je Putin kao i mi pravoslavac i zemlja mu je mnogo jaka i to je to. On je mnogo jači, ima dobru vojsku i sve. Barack Obama ili Putin? Vučić.
Znaju djeca ko je broj 1? Da. Sad ćemo da napravimo kratku pauzu od smeha. Moram da vas podsjetim na akciju Bebama u pomoć. U novembru je samo od vaših SMS-ova prikupljeno preko 15.000 evra, tako da je za sada pokriven jedan aparat koji je potreban za Novi Sad. Još uvijek skupljamo za Tiršovu u Beogradu i za kliniku u Nišu. Da vas podsjetim još jednom u pomoć bebama 4373.
Mi inače godišnje operišemo oko 2.500 dece, pokrivamo područje od 2 miliona stanovnika sa juga Srbije, primimo negde oko 3.000 dece, a pregledamo negde oko 30.000 deteta. Ovom akcijom bi trebalo da dobijemo visokofrekventni ventilator koji do sada nismo imali. Mi koristimo standardne ventilatore, međutim ova vrsta ventilatora sa novim performansama omogućit će deci koja imaju poremećaj u respiratornom sistemu, a što vrlo često prati kongenitalne anomalije, da lakše prebrode period nakon hirurške intervencije.
Mnogo vam hvala što pomažete našim bebama 4373, a večeras imam sjajnog gosta Sa nama je golmanska legenda Petar Schmeichel. Svira nam Ju grupa. Schmeichel za 3 sekunde ovde. Večeras imam zaista neverovatnog gosta, zahvaljujući mojim prijateljima iz Eurobanke. Sa nama je Petar Schmeichel. Yeah, they like it, yeah. It's like we have it was a surprising moment for me to have so many ladies in the audience.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, but I expected some guys because you're coming, but obviously I misjudged you. I mean, misjudged your appearance.
Ah, yeah, you have.
Yeah.
My ability with the ladies, yeah. But thank you very much for turning up.
Mr. Schmeichel, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I have these friends from Eurobank that helps me from time to time to bring such great sport people like you are. And before we start the interview, I have with us Daniela Stajkovic. She's the manager of the child shelter that was helped by Manchester United. So I think that she just wants to say thanks, and I will translate it to you when she finishes.
Okay, thank you.
Daniela, dobar dan.
Dobar dan.
Dobro večer, pardon.
Dobro večer.
Izvolite, htjeli ste se zahvalite.
Da, htjeli smo da se zahvalimo deca prihvatilišta, se raduju poseti Petera Schmeichela, zahvaljuju se Eurobanci i naravno Manchester Unitedu na svemu onome što će doneti kod dece, a najviše na pažnji koja je stvarno onako za njih poprilično snažna, velika i eto, došli smo da kažemo hvala.
She's very grateful for all the help that Manchester United is giving and the Eurobank and yourself now, and they are grateful for all the things that they got, but above everything for the attention that you show to them and gentleness and kindness things, so they just say a big thanks.
Well, thank you very much
all
for
of you guys.
doing, It's very important. I mean, Manchester United, it's a global brand. We have partners everywhere in the world, like we have Eurobank here in Serbia. And it's important, obviously, to have partners because it's very expensive to run a football club.
Yeah.
But Manchester United takes the social responsibility very, very seriously. And it's important for Manchester United everywhere we are in the world to make sure that we do help and we are part of that community.
I remember when everything started, the people from Eurobank, they told me what's the idea, and I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, like, you like to have a credit card with Manchester United, and I thought it's... what?
By the way, I'm bearing gifts. I have a credit card.
Oh, you do, yeah, huh? Is it the real one or the fake one?
Well,
hey, it looks like
tell you
you.
what, it's got your name on. It's got your name on.
My name, yeah?
And they're outside, they're in the back, so after the show you can ask. I got one as well.
Oh, you got one, yeah?
I got one as well.
Well, now, you know, I never asked them, is there any money on this card? But this time I'm going to ask.
It's a credit card, and I think what you could do is just spend, spend, spend and not pay.
Yeah.
Because they're giving it to you.
Did they give you the PIN code as well?
Yes. But we'll ask them after the show.
Maybe I can use it on the net, you know, like...
Yes, it's a proper card.
I'll put it like this.
Yeah.
Looks nice with my name and the Manchester.
Yes,
it's kind of cool. You mentioned how important it is, and I saw it when I was on the match. It was Manchester United-Arsenal, the end of the season. And then I saw like 76,000 people, I believe, from all parts of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like international happening, not just the regular football game.
It's the way it is now. I am surprised every time to see the reach of the football club. Doesn't matter where I am. I mean, I've just been told now, which has really surprised me, that of 7 million Serbian people, 1.2 million are Manchester United fans.
Yeah.
I shouldn't really be surprised, but I am.
Yeah.
It's a massive. But if I travel to Africa, for instance, I get to places where people literally don't have any money. They live for what they can do, or live off what they can do in that particular day. They're still wearing Manchester United shirts.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable how far the club reaches
What's the secret? What do you think that's the secret of Manchester United to be so loved all around the world?
Well, I think there's of course, the way that the football has been played ever since Alex Ferguson took over, and television could put the matches out into the world in every corner of the world. But if you go further back, I think one of the, and I'm sad to say this, but one of the things that started here in Belgrade in '58, where United had played, and on the way back,
they had a crash.
In Munich, with the plane crash, and I think from that moment the club, they got so much sympathy from the rest of the world, and obviously the fantastic history of Samad, who nearly died himself, rebuilt the club in 10 years, and 10 years later, nearly to the day, Manchester United won the European Cup. And I think that part of Manchester United's history is very, very important to what the club is today.
So did you... did you have that feeling when you were a kid? And because I will now read these Danish football clubs. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this. I have to say this. He's going to pronounce 2 of the football clubs I've played for.
Yes. So you actually started like let's say the serious career, because I know you had a few clubs before this one.
Name the clubs, please.
It's Gladsaxe.
Perfect.
Okay, and then Vidovre.
Oh, come on, you've practiced.
And then Brøndby.
And Brøndby. Brøndby we all know. Hey.
Yeah. I'm speaking Danish.
And you're doing well.
Thank you very much. Actually, you showed me, so I don't want to take credit for this.
You still had to remember.
Well, yeah.
You still had to remember.
Well, I was saying in my head, like, Vidovre, Vidovre, you know, so I did it right. Yeah. Did you know then for Manchester United?
Yeah.
And how did you feel about Manchester
United?
at that time?
Manchester United was always my club. From the very first moment I was aware of other football clubs in the world, it was Manchester United for me. And it's weird, because I have no explanations to that, other than they always had exciting players, and at the time it was George Best, and all my other friends, they were supporting Leeds or Bayern Munich, because Leeds and Bayern Munich, and a little bit later in the 70s it was Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. Those clubs were the ones that you supported. At that time, Manchester United didn't win anything really of significance.
Since '68, I think they didn't win.
Well, '68, I was 5 years old. Yeah. So
and then they had the dry period.
And then it was all the way till '93.
'93, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Manchester United was always my club, and it was also my father's club. But we never really had that kind of relationship where we talked about football. My father was a musician, so he worked...
was a pianist, yeah?
Yeah. He worked evenings and nights where I slept, and then I went to school and played football, and he would sleep then. So we never really, in that part of my life, talked about football.
And then later, when he realized that his son is #1 in the world?
Oh, well, I kind of have a similar feeling at the moment, because obviously my son plays for Leicester.
Yes.
And Leicester are leading this moment in time. They're leading the Premier League.
Leading the Premier League,
So I have a little feeling about what my father must have felt, the pride and...
If I can say, I think that the Casper is kicking ass. He's not only playing for Leicester. He's really excellent. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to say it probably, but if I can say it, please allow me.
He's doing really well, and I'm very, very proud. In fact, I have no words to describe how proud I am. And it's much more important now for me what he does than what I have ever done in my life. And it's a weird thing to say, but it's the truth.
I can understand you as a parent. I have a daughter, so I understand your feeling. But the thing about him, I think that it's very hard for Casper, because everybody compare him to you.
And you're beginning to do that now?
No.
Okay, good.
I just want to say, something else about him. I saw a short movie that Premier League did with him. And of course, they start to compare him, and he was so cool in his statement. He was like, I know who was my father, he was #1, he was the biggest. The only thing I want is to give my best and do the best I can, and I don't want to be compared with him. I have my own life, my career. And it's very mature from him to say something like that, and I liked it a lot. And he's a great goalkeeper, and I'm sure that he's going to have...
It's been really, really difficult for him, it has, because at every junction, every corner he had to turn, he's being compared. And a lot of managers, they've been reluctant to sign him because it came in. Nigel Pearson called him into his office after 3 days of being the manager there. And he said, I have to admit, I was no fan. I wasn't a fan of you, but you've convinced me. You've turned me over.
Nice.
So people that don't know Kasper has had this kind of, I don't know, they've had this view on who he was, what his persona was, and his ability, and they've made their mind up and said, oh, he looks like his dad, but he's not like his dad. But actually working with him...
Well, I assume that you gave him some advices or something like that.
That's the thing. Yeah. And this is what makes me really, really proud, because you can imagine, if we were talking football all the time, you know, it would be so much pressure on him, and actually a little bit annoying on me, because, you know, I've been there, done there, and some, you know, when you're finished, you want to move on and do other things. So we had a conversation initiated by him very, very early on. He came to me and said, listen, I'm going to try and do this, you know. So we sat down and talked about, so, you know, where am I? Where am I in this? Do you want me
what
to
is your role? Yeah.
What's my role? How do you want me in this? And we agreed very, very quickly that I was going to be Kasper's dad and just stay his dad. The only ever time I've done that is when they won promotion from the Championship into the Premier League 18 months ago. Still had 3 games to play, and they were secure, right? They won the Premier League. And I said, this is an opportunity for you to, you know, advance a little bit in your starting position. We're talking about maybe a foot, no more than that. But be brave enough. And I said this actually not to him, but to his goalkeeping coach. I was watching training. I said, do you not think it's a good idea for him? Could you work? That's the only ever time I've done it.
Well, it's enough, I think, you know. How I see it, if he needs an advice, he knows the place where he can...
Yeah, but he doesn't do it, and it's great.
It's really cool that he doesn't, yeah.
He doesn't do it.
I think it's smart, and it's a good move from you and from him as well.
Should be like that.
We'll make a short commercial break now, and then I want to ask you about your career, if it's cool with you. Ostanite sa nama i nakon reklama nastavimo razgovor sa gospodinom Schmeichelom. Sada svira za vas U grupa. Let's continue about your career. In Denmark, you did it from the 3rd division to the 1st league, and then you went to the Premier League, and you were leading your national team on the Euro Cup in 1992, and then with Manchester you won 5 Premier Leagues. You won this treble, how you say it in English? Triple, yeah.
That's how you say it?
Yeah, no, we say it the same way, but I don't know why I asked you that one. Triple. I saw somewhere with the B. Yeah, my mistake.
Yeah, well,
sorry.
You can spell it 2 ways. Triple is with an I and a PLE, but we call it the treble.
Treble, yeah.
Treble, so it's Treble.
T-A-B-L, but yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce.
Triple is still 3, but the treble apparently spells the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Doesn't matter, I understand what you say.
Thanks. So you actually accomplished everything that one football player can imagine. But at the beginning, it wasn't like that. You were playing football and working other jobs, and then...
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to make football my living, and I was always ambitious. I always wanted to win everything. I mean, that could be just playing with my friends, or, you know, playing anything, really. Seriously, anything. We play cards or chess or whatever. Just wanted to win.
First time I saw you was 1991. You made me cry, me and my family and my friends. It was your first season in Manchester.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you were on the goal against Red Star Belgrade Super Cup, and you had some remarkable savings there. And I was like, who's this guy? I never saw him. How can he be so good? It's not nice to be so good on this night that is so important for my club.
It didn't make me cry, let me tell you that. It didn't.
But it was a good game. It was a good game, yeah.
It was my first trophy for Manchester United as well. It was the UEFA Super Cup.
Super Cup, yeah.
And back then you'd play home and away, but because of the troubles in the then Yugoslavia, it wasn't deemed safe to play the return leg. So we played.
We played
the one game, and that was it.
We played the one game, and we agreed that this game will be on your field because anyhow the revenge we couldn't play in Serbia or Yugoslavia, so it was the same for us. And I think that we were better, but you won. You scored when it was needed, and Manchester had you on the goal, which was very important in that game.
We would just come back into Europe, so in 5 or 6 years of not been having English football in Europe, you know, the way that European football, international football was being played had changed, and you know, English football's gone that way and European football's gone that way. And for your first try back, you know, the whole excitement just being in there was enough for United to win it. But from this game and quite a long time through the 90s, we were struggling with European football. We always came up against the problem that, first of all, to begin with, we couldn't play the same 11 as we played in the league because of foreign players' rules, and so we always had to make our team a different team. Secondly, the big difference was that whenever we had the ball, we would try to score. So we didn't try to keep the ball. We tried to see if we can create a chance every time.
And it's very offensive, and then you
very offensive, exactly. And coming up against teams like Red Star Belgrade, with the great players they had, that were able to keep the ball, and us running around trying to get the ball back, it was different for us. And we were struggling in Europe, big time for a long period.
Yeah, but on this game, I think that you started your perfect era in Manchester and generally in the world and Europe football. You brought some completely new style for the goalkeepers. And I told you that before we started the show. This is how I see it. It's like, until you showed up, I never saw a goalkeeper so active, so quickly. Even scoring, after 2 or 3 years, you start to score your goals. And it was really amazing, and I think that many goalkeepers after you, they just continue to do your style. And now what we have from the Bayern goalkeeper, Neuer, maybe this is like, actually he's your pupil, or student, that's how I see him, you know. It's like the version of you in this time and in this football. Do you share that opinion, or you?
Well, for me it was, I mean, I did a lot of things when I was a kid, but one of the things I did other than play football was play handball.
Handball, yeah.
And the team that we had, the team was the same football team and the same handball team. So half the year when the weather was good, we could play football. The other half we would play handball indoor.
Well, you did implement a lot from the handball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But what we did there was, because we had two players that were incredibly fast, and they were always playing on the wing. So when in handball, I was in goal. So when in handball, I got the ball.
He runs.
When they were shooting, they're already running. So I got the ball, and I would throw it up to them. And from there, we started, because we implemented that into the game of football as well. We started with, if I got the ball, they'll just run, and I would throw it. And from there, I got the throwing, which when I came to England, every single goalkeeper, and I mean every single one, would put the ball down for a goal kick and kick it. And he would keep the ball in his hand and kick it from there when he had. He would never roll the ball out. He would never pass the ball with his feet, or he would never, ever throw the ball. So no one knew about this. So we could surprise team, and it just became part of me. And I felt that that was a very, very effective way of doing my job. Because it's like with anything you do in life, if you take control, at least you are in control of your own destiny. So it's not what other guys are doing that determine if you get to that point or to that point. If you take control, you have control. And that's what I was doing in my game.
Thanks. Can we see now a short clip with some of your savings?
All right.
If it's okay with you.
Okay.
I thought that the music is for you, not the song, you know.
Fantastic music.
Yeah, I found somewhere that this is your favorite. It's Oscar Peterson.
Oscar Peterson, Hymn to Freedom.
Hymn from
It's
Freedom,
one of my favorites.
Yeah, one of your favorites.
Oscar Peterson is one of my favorite musicians ever.
Yeah, I found that somewhere, and then we put that music. I wanted you to enjoy that.
Very good touch.
Thank you very much. We saw here like all the guys that you played with and some of the moments that you had. First of all, I want to ask you something. Is it truth that you always had triple extra large T-shirts? No?
there are so many myths about that.
They say that you were so big, you know, and then you had always this biggest equipment.
Yeah, I was always bigger than most of my teammates, so by nature, you know, my shirts would be bigger, but it's someone who's put that out at some point. But I don't know if they were double X or triple X.
Triple X, yeah.
But they had to fit.
Yeah, it was fitted for you, definitely. You saw some of the best players, not some, you saw probably all the best players in the world at the time. Was there anybody who influenced you, or anybody that you were afraid of from the other side, or anybody that you found as the best one in your team, that you really enjoyed to play with or against?
But I really have been spoiled, if you like, because I've played with some of the best players ever. That I consider some of the best players or some of the players that I play with, especially in the last part of the 90s and last part of my career at United. I consider them being, you know, some of the best players in the world. Someone like Ryan Giggs, who, you know, unfortunately for him, was Welsh,
yeah.
chose to play for Wales. Well, I say unfortunately, he made that choice. So it's more unfortunately for us, because Wales at the time never qualified for European Championships or World Cups. And that's why I think Ryan isn't considered one of the biggest or the greatest ever, because he's never taken part in any of those championships. But had he done, he would have been up there. Yes. He was an unbelievable player. When I arrived at Manchester United, he'd already been in the team. So he made his debut.
He started with 17, I think. 16, yeah.
He made his debut 4 months before I came in 91, sorry. And he only retired 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
You know, how do you do that?
I don't know, it's an amazing career.
Unbelievable. And he
was playing good until the end.
He was. But he was lightning quick. I mean, he was faster, you will not believe, when he first came around on the scene in the early 90s. And with that, usually you get a lot of hamstring injuries, and he did. Yeah. And somewhere along the road, he decided that he wanted to do this forever. Wow. So he started to do yoga, started to look after that, and identify that this is going to be my problem. Yeah. I got to counteract that. And he's a clever fella. And he's been an unbelievable player for Manchester United. And he was one of those, you know. No. David Beckham, who, if you isolate David Beckham, probably not the greatest player in the world. But the one thing that he was best at, no one's ever been as good as him. No one could cross a ball like him. And I know you've had Dwight York on this sofa. I did, yeah. But you can ask players like him, like Andy Cole, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Eric Cantona, who the best player they've ever played with, or most important player. It would be David Beckham, because he would put them just to touch it into the goal.
And to score.
And I can't remember many players who has been as good as those two players. And even I mentioned Eric Cantona there. Yeah. You can mention, you know, players like Zidane. And there was, just to go back to your question, in the clip there was a big chance missed by Ian Wright, who played for Arsenal. And Arsenal was obviously our big sort of competitor in my time. And the thing, he actually never managed to score against me. And he did score in a pre-season match.
And he's one of the best scorers.
But he's the only player that I've ever thought about before a game, that I'm playing against Ian Wright today. I'm going to try and keep this run going, that he doesn't score. Other than that, you know, you're up against someone like Robbie Fowler. I don't know if you remember Robbie Fowler. Yeah. But he's probably the most clever player I've ever played against.
Oh, yeah?
And he scored, unfortunately, a lot of goals, to my regret, because I do a little bit of work.
Well, somebody had to do it.
Honestly, we do a little bit of public speaking together. And it's annoying that he can say that he scored.
He always reminds you on that one, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know, but I scored goals to Peter. Well, but tell me about there is one nice thing about you. You never lost the city derby. When you were playing for Manchester United, you never lost, and then when you played one season in City, you didn't lose in those two games. One you won, I think, and the other one was equal.
I only played one for Man City.
For one season, yeah?
No, one game.
One game, but you didn't lose in that game.
I didn't lose that game, no.
Yeah. So you're never losing, that's definitely what you said is true. You don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose.
Especially
no.
not the important games.
No.
There is the craziest game ever, in my opinion, was the Champions League's final against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And although Liverpool and Milano had their own crazy game, I still believe that the one between Manchester and Bayern was crazier. Let's put it that way. How did you see that game? How did you felt? How did you feel
Seriously, I actually I was doing a talk in Malta on Friday, and I spent about 20 minutes on this game. Half the audience was from Munich,
yeah.
München, yeah. So it was relevant. I took great pleasure in talking about this game. But one of the things I said was that I have no actual memory. I seriously don't have any actual memory about this game.
It was like a trance, or?
No, we've come back. We talked about the treble before, so we've had a very long season, and we had incredible games, very, very, very tight games along the way. We had Juventus in the semi-final. We were, 1-0 down at Old Trafford, scored in the last minute to give a little bit of hope, and then we went to Turin and were 2-0 down in 10 minutes. But we still turned it around and won the game. And we had Arsenal in the FA Cup semi-final, which went, to another game, and it was tight all the way. And we just had so many games that sucked all the energy out of you. And then we get to the last 3 games of the season, which is Tottenham at home in the Premier League, FA Cup final against Newcastle, and then the Champions League final, and all within 10 days. And we are in the situation that if we win the 3 games, we also win the treble.
Yeah.
It's never been done before. I don't think it's ever going to be done again. But we win it. And then by the time we get to this Champions League final, my mind's just gone. I'm just focused on the game. I don't even think about it's a Champions League final. It's another game. It's another important game. And when the whistle went, blank. The next memory, which is my own, is when we're back in Manchester, parading the trophy, or the 3 trophies that we did win. But everything I know about from when the game finished to that moment is from someone like you telling me your story, or video clips, or reading, from the newspaper. So it's really, really weird.
Okay, let's then see a short clip, and I'll tell you my story, but it's going to be very short.
Okay.
Okay. It's like my story is. First of all, it's impossible to do this to Germans, to score in 91st and 93rd minute. And I think that except Manchester, only Red Star did it to Bayern Munich in 1990 when we semi-final of the Champions League. It was the Champions Cup in that time. And we scored like in 93rd minute for the equalizer, and we went to the final. And your role in this game, it was this running in front of their goal, and you completely confused their defense players. I saw like 4 or 5 guys chasing you, and then this clumsy defender, and the miracle happened. You did it a lot of times. You scored like 11 goals in your career, which is amazing for the goalkeeper. I think that nobody did it.
I think there's a few South American goalkeepers who scored more than that.
Yeah, but in South America, maybe it's like,
Just don't be careful here.
normal. But you're one of the best in the world for sure with 11.
But we did that. It's a conscious thing to do, because you see what happened there.
There's no time.
Doesn't matter. I mean, if you lose the Champions League final 1-0 or 2-0, does it really matter? You lost the game anyway. And you clearly saw the 3 minutes go up, and we have this corner kick. And what Bayern Munich did really, really well in that game was to be organised. We had the problem from the beginning of the game that we didn't have Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, which
they were very important for you.
Well, they were very, very. I mean, that was our engine room. They were not there, so we had to change a lot, and we did not play well. We did not play well. So you think set pieces, that's a chance, but they were so organised. So when I do that, that's not in that team talk. The manager, Hitzfeld, has not said, when Schmeichel comes up, you take care of him. So they all look, and that little bit of hesitation is enough for Michael Tanner, who gets a ball in front of Dwight York, doesn't get it cleared, he's confused. It's a bad clearance. It's a bad shot by Ryan Giggs. And in the whole game, no one was unmarked, but Teddy Sheringham is unmarked on the front post. And I think that little bit of confusion, caused all that. And we did that time and time again. Time and time again.
And then the Solskjaer, he did it like how many times in his career? Unbelievable guy.
I tell you this. When you play the way that we played, we committed people forward. We took chances, we gambled. And sometimes we got caught out. Sometimes we went behind. We went behind in that game. And you trust yourself that you will come back. We're still going to gamble. We're still going to commit people forward. But just now and again, it's not happening for you. We're not creating the chances. This is not happening. That is not happening. And then, it's a substitution. You look out, and it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is coming on. You think, yeah.
Nah, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Bring him in.
Let's do the thing.
I'll tell you what, I've never played with a player like that who was, I don't think he was happy to be a substitute. Of
course, yeah.
But he accepted that's his part in this team. To have that kind of quality to put on the pitch. And Teddy Sheringham, who scored the other goal, by the way, he came on in the final.
Yeah,
to have that, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was an amazing match, and I spoke about it with Dwight as well, and it's for me, I will never forget this match because I saw it on TV. I was watching the live.
Dwight was, for that year, Dwight York is the reason we went and won the treble. I put it that way. We were very, very good. We were a great, great team. But Dwight York came in with a big smile to our dressing room and changed 2%. Those 2% was enough. He changed Andy Cole, for instance. Andy Cole was a great player, but he became even greater. We called them the twins.
Yeah.
The
they had
way
a great season.
They had this telepathic connection that was just, we've never, and people, I tell you what, I see kids today, they do this little trick and they call it the York Cole trick, where they jumped over and run into a second ball. They were unbelievable.
They know about it.
Yeah, it was.
I have another short clip. It's 2 goals that you scored. And don't worry, I will not ask you the question about the offside because it's more than obvious that you were in offside. But let's see them. It's, I said about the number of goals, but correct me now if I'm wrong. But you're the first one in the history of Premier League that did this, the goalkeeper.
I have no idea. Probably, yeah.
You are, yeah.
Probably.
Believe me.
I think there are a few goalkeepers.
There are 4 of you that did it. Marek Bosnic, then the guy from Tottenham, the American goalkeeper from the Tottenham.
I think what they've done is they've scored from kicks, where the wind sort of, and it's. I think that's what's happened.
But you're the only one that did it from the actions, like.
I'm not sure. But see, the Aston Villa goal. It looks really good, but we were 3-1 down. It was 3-2, so it didn't really help much. And the pride. I take pride of being probably the only goalkeeper ever to be caught offside.
Yes, but you did it first time 1995, I think, in some UEFA Cup match.
Yeah.
That's when you first time scored.
Manchester United never lost a game at Old Trafford in Europe, never. So we played this Russian team called Rotor Volgograd.
Yeah.
And we drew 0-0 away from home, and they were not a very good team, but we tried to play European football, protect and not to give anything away. So, get a result away from home and do the business when we came back to Old Trafford. But they surprised us, and they were leading 2-1.
2-1,
with time gone. And, the goal I scored saved that record for 1 year.
Yeah.
We'd still got knocked out, and next year we lost to Fenerbahce at home.
Fenerbahce. But was it your decision or the coach's decision that you go forward and try?
That's my own decision. It was never seen before.
Yeah,
so the first time I did that, Alex Ferguson was a little bit like, what's going on? Yeah. But the thing about Alex Ferguson, he was bringing in players that were thinking in a different way than other players, and he was getting results by having those kind of players. And very quickly he could see the value of that. Because what happened many times was when I was up there, I would occupy someone, leaving someone free, creating a little bit of confusion. And we did have a few times when
and after you scored a few times, then they start to be afraid when they see you.
The most important thing that happened, and where Alex Ferguson was okay with everything I did, was because we were 1-0 or 2-1 down to Liverpool at Old Trafford. And I went up and it was confused, and Paul Ince scored, and it was 2-2. So he was happy that we didn't lose to Liverpool.
With that
so
one,
after that, everything was possible.
Everything was possible. Cool, cool. I want to speak now about the national team. I'm not going to take a lot of time of you. You were the main guy for the biggest success of the Danish national team in the history, I think, winning the Europe Championship in 1992. And it was a very strange situation because Yugoslavia was supposed to go, and then they put the sanctions, and then the Denmark went as a reserve team. And I even think that you gave some statement in that time that
we're going to win it.
That you're going to win it, but you said that it's not nice what happened.
Yeah.
And it was
very
weird. Yeah, it was surprising for us that somebody said something like that.
There are two things to it. First of all, obviously, the whole situation in the then Yugoslavia was a terrible situation, and it wasn't great to get into the European Championships because of that. All along the way, because we took over all the facilities that Yugoslavia had built, all along the way we kept the people of Yugoslavia in our minds and were playing for them as well. But we had a really bad beginning to the qualification and actually lost in Copenhagen to Yugoslavia, and I think we drew against Bulgaria, which left us a little bit behind. And then we had a lot of trouble in the team. We sorted it out, and from that moment on, we actually won every game. And we came here to Belgrade, and we beat Yugoslavia here. So in many ways, we felt that we should have qualified because we were good enough. But the situation was obviously, the background was not right. But you do your job. You are a professional football player, so that's an opportunity. You have to go and do your best. And we got called in very late, not prepared, not well prepared, and certainly physically not well prepared.
So you really didn't expect that you will end up on the Europe Championship?
But what we did have, it was SNG, so it was Russia. Last preparation game before they went across to Sweden. We were playing that before we could actually go on our holidays. And our coach was a very serious guy. So he didn't say to us, well, just do 2 days of training and come and play this game. No, we had to come and train every day. I left England about a month before, I think, because the season finished early. So I was training every day. I mean, obviously I was completely switched off, not bothering about playing, preparation game for someone else. But it was when we were in training for this game that we got told that we were playing. So we had about 10 days before we played our first game to play. And obviously, having played against England in the first game, drew 0-0, came off the game, thought that we should have won. It gave us
strength.
It gave us belief that we could go and do better than that.
And then there was this penalty from Marco van Basten. Probably everybody's speaking about that.
It was an important moment, but along the way I've taken a lot of credit for that. But we have to remember that we scored 5 times in that penalty shootout. And the last penalty is the best penalty that I've ever seen in my life. Because what happened was the goalkeeper, the Dutch goalkeeper, Van Breukelen, was trying to intimidate every single player coming up for the kick.
By saying something? Or
he was out there, he was pushing them and taking the ball away. Yeah, seriously, and the referee allowed him to do that. And then this last guy came up, a guy called Kim Christophe. And he took the ball, and he just stood there waiting. Van Breukelen went in goal. Then he put the ball down and took like 7 steps back. And then he looked at the ball, and he looked to the referee and said, something wrong with the ball, and there's nothing. And Van Breuklen's like this. He went back and took it up and showed the referee and put it down. And then he took 1 step back, and he just looked at him. And just looked at him, and he waited for him to move that way, and just rolled the ball over there. This was a penalty to get us into the final. And for me, it was the best thing I've ever seen in football.
Cool. Let's see some details from this championship, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that the Germans don't like you, huh? I mean, if you count like Bayern Munich and then now the national team, when you see all of this, I mean, like Klinsmann, Bremme, Rudi Feller, and you save everything. I mean, it's like the German people must be a little bit tense.
It was a good game. That game we played against Holland was very, very expensive for us because we had one guy going to hospital with a broken kneecap. We had 2 guys of our back 5, 2 guys getting hamstring injuries, and then another guy, he got a knock on his hip, and the 3 guys, obviously the guy in hospital couldn't play the final, but the other 3 passed fitness tests in the morning. They were not fit. I mean, seriously not fit, and that's why the Germans had so many chances. But you know,
you were fit.
I don't know if you know about John Jensen, but for John Jensen to score, then you have to win. If he scores, you got to win.
I saw it in some... Yeah, he never scored before that, I think, yeah?
He had about, I think he tried about 7, 8 times in the whole championship with shots from distance, and they were all over the place. And then in the final, he hits it.
Well, the most important one, he gets in.
And it was, I tell you what, when he scored that, the feeling, because we were under pressure all the time. And then Vilfort scored the second goal. But you know, it's one of the games, you know, when I go around and I speak to people that they always want to know about. And I still don't know how we managed up winning that game. Because that team was fantastic. Fantastic team there, and every single one of them were fit and strong.
They were you speak about the
Sammer, Effenberg, Riedle.
They were the champions of the world 2 years before that. In
They
Italy,
were,
yeah?
but you know, sometimes you go and look for the luck and you find it and it comes your way, and that was
that was your championship, and that's it. Obviously,
was,
the God wanted you to be there and to win it. You know.
Yeah, well.
I speak about the Danish national team, not only about you. You know.
Yeah, but it was. I'm quite pleased it happened.
Is there anything in the world of football? Is there anything that you regret that you didn't win? Is there anything that you wanted to win but you didn't manage?
I think every single football player wants to win the World Cup, but I think when you come from a country like Denmark, it's probably a big ask. But we feel that we had the opportunity in '98. We feel that we had a really good team.
It was in France, yeah?
It was in France. We got knocked out 3-2 by Brazil in the quarterfinals. A game that, you know, we even to this day, we still feel that we should have won. But it's not about who the best team is on the day. It's all about, you know, you get to those stages of a tournament, your experience, there's so many factors in there.
Luck, of course.
I think luck plays a part, but it's not the biggest part. I think experience in being in that situation.
Playing big matches.
Yeah, exactly, and not being afraid of losing the game. I think because we played Brazil, I think there's a few players in the team we were afraid to lose. And that was a shame, but we're still very proud of our achievements there. But other than that, I'm quite happy with what I took part in and what I was winning. So
well, you should be. It's an amazing career. I mean, it's really remarkable. I ask you just to check if there is maybe something, you know, that is missing.
There's always something.
Yeah, there's always something.
If you're happy, and you know, if you're still playing and being happy, then you'll never win anything again. You have to chase and chase all the time. You have to always think of something new and evolve and develop yourself. And Alex Ferguson was like that.
Wow.
He was definitely like that. He always tried to make things better, always tried to put new things in, always tried to evolve and move the club and the team forward.
Do you think that maybe today Manchester, how do you see Manchester today comparing to that time? Because a lot of fans are like that Louis van Gaal is not playing the Manchester type of football, which was, I think, expected, because Louis van Gaal always played his own football and that's it. But he has good results now in this season. But at the beginning he was criticized a lot. How do you see the Manchester playing now in this time?
I think, you know, it's an impossible situation, because you come in as a manager, you take over a club that's been winning so much, and then you come in after the season that the club finished, or the team finishes 7th.
Yeah.
Then what are your priorities? What are your objectives? Are you going to come out and say, we're going to win the championship now? Or are you going to try to steady the ship and rebuild? I think we as fans, we've been spoiled with incredible football for so many years that we sometimes forget that everything is a process.
Yeah.
Everything takes time. So once you don't hit the right nodes, it takes time to get back. And that's a process that we're in at the moment. Now, do we like the style of football he's playing or do we not? Do we prioritize points before performances? Will we celebrate if we win the Premier League playing what people call boring football? Of course we will. There's so many questions all the time, and you know, we have to see what's going to happen. You know, Van Gaal is a very, very big and strong independent character, and I think in many, many ways you need that. You need someone who doesn't, you know, change because you're being criticized, and then you say, okay, I better do what they're saying, or I'm going to stick with what I have. And then you decide, is that good enough for the club, or is that not good enough for the club? And then the club has to react.
Oh, we'll see the results at the end.
But I think everyone are going to be satisfied and very happy if there's a trophy this year.
For sure.
You know?
That's for sure, yeah. Outside the football, you had a remarkable experience on television.
Yeah.
With BBC and many other stations. You were giving comments about the football, but you also were hosting a quiz, one against 100, I think, and dirty jobs.
Yeah.
And those dirty jobs, I saw some of them, and it's really dirty. And I mean, I saw some clip with the pigs, and I was like, wow, I couldn't do this one.
That was the one I didn't want to do.
So, what is your experience with the television? Do you like that job?
Well, I've worked in television now for, I don't know, for nearly 15 years. I got to a point, because I was hosting the Champions League in Denmark, and in between I was doing
comments,
the quiz. Well, when I was hosting, I wasn't doing so much commentating. I was then doing the quiz, and then I did dirty jobs, and I really loved it. But what it is as well, it's very much the same. You do this talk show, it's probably very much the same, sat in the chair, but it's always a different person.
It is.
But when you talk about the same teams, you talk with the same guys. My TV station was a commercial TV station, so we went for viewers rather than for what the competition was. So we always showed either Liverpool or Manchester United. Always. So you always say the same thing, and you get to a point where you just find yourself desperate to do something different. So I still do TV. I do Premier League TV from England. I do a little bit of Sky in England, but I do it little enough not to be repeating myself all the time. And then I do other stuff. You know, I do radio programs. I have ambassadorial roles for Manchester United, for Tipico, a betting company, for Carlsberg. So I'm going to be very active about the Euros, for instance. Yeah. Because Carlsberg is one of the main sponsors.
Working with Carlsberg must be very nice.
It's nice to work with Carlsberg, I'm telling you.
Yeah, call me once.
You're never short of beer.
Call me once. Yeah. I can be a champion in that one, believe me.
It is nice. And my first experience working with Carlsberg in the Euros was in Poland and Ukraine. And it's an experience that I really will treasure forever, because obviously the weather was fantastic. And then the games, I thought the games, every game we went to, it was just one game after the other was, you know, just exciting and
it was
good
good
football.
Yeah.
I've never seen a tournament where every game was good entertainment.
Yeah.
And we were there, obviously, hosting Carlsberg's guests and being part of a small community that traveled from place to place. And it was I'd never experienced anything like that. I've played 4 Euros, but, you know...
you didn't know how...
You know what you do.
There is a good party upstairs.
Well, I didn't know that. But what you do is you train, and then you rest, and then you eat, and then you train, and then you rest and eat. It's like that. And then you go to a game, you play and you disappear. You don't know what's going on around. You could play anywhere, really. It wouldn't make a difference because you just play this game.
For you, it was always the same.
But now I got around and I saw everything from the outside. What we do is...
Now you know why we love football so much.
Yeah, absolutely. But even the fan parks where people... For instance, the opening game in Warsaw, right? There was 50,000 people in the stadium, and 2 miles away was the fan park. There were 70,000 fans there. And we've been doing some work there before the final. And the way you connect with fans and you see everything in a different light, and football then becomes interesting again. Yeah. Because when you play, to be completely honest, football is not interesting. It's great to play the games. I absolutely loved the competition, but football wasn't interesting. Why would I read about what was happening when my life is so full of it every day? But for me then, you know, starting with the television, and then you get into, you know, a job like that, suddenly you see football in a completely different light, what it means to people. You understand emotions much better. You understand why people were reacting like that when you were playing, and it was just a fantastic experience.
I'm very happy that you said that. And I think that with any further question, I would only spoil this interview, which I'm very fond of. But I will tell you my wish. I wish you good health before everything. And I really wish you that in the future, for example, Casper wins the World Cup with Denmark.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would be perfect. And then that would be the fulfilling of your dreams as well. So this is my wish for you. And thank you very much for being my guest.
Can you just stay there for 1 second?
I'm staying, don't worry. I don't go anywhere. What's the steps?
I have a present for you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Wow.
So,
it's a cool one.
Not only have you got a shirt, you've got a credit card as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
But you have to promise me to wear this on the show one day.
I will, don't worry, yeah. I have a nice collection. And this is the second one I get, or the third one, I think. No, the one I got on the game, and one from Dwight and one from you.
Yeah, but he never asked you to wear it.
I'm going to wear yours. Okay?
You're going to wear that on the show?
It's a promise, yes.
Is
I'll do one show like this. It's a promise from me to you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, really. Thank you very much. Ostanite sa nama i nakon reklama. Još jednom nam sviraju grupa. Hvala ljudima iz Eurobanke koji su mi još jednom omogućili da živim svoj san u ovom studiju. Grupa za vas.